Hey Jimmy,
Hey man, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good.
Good,
So
good,
wait,
good.
what's the topic of discussion here?
Well, let me backtrack. Let me give you a the synopsis of why this was even brought up.
Okay.
I had Eric Bellinger on my podcast about a week
Yep.
ago,
Uh-huh.
and the topic of bridges came up,
Ah,
and
yes.
how the the art of bridges have just kind of gone away
Mm-hmm.
in R&B music. You don't hear about it as much, and if you do, it's in like either a pop song or a song made for a movie or
Yeah.
something like that. They're not as common as they used to be
Right. Right. Right.
in the past. And I've heard a lot of anecdotes about why that's the case. And it's a lot of it has to do with image. Like for some reason, producers or managers or whoever is filling these artists' heads with the fact that bridges are not cool because it's corny or it's old man or it's not looked at as just something that kids want to hear, which I know that's not the case. I know for a fact that there are kids that still enjoy and listen to music with bridges. And I personally think, and I said this, I personally think that it's a lack of knowledge
Mm-hmm.
of how to create a bridge
Mm-hmm.
because these kids are not listening to guys like yourself and Babyface and Teddy Riley's of the world and Narada Michael Walden's and even back to the Gambling Huff days and all those other guys who made bridges um, and made them beautifully and seamlessly that told a story and gave the songs an arc.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these songs are very much just four bars of the same track with a bunch of lyrics over it, and then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Even how about this? You know, it's just as rare. Song fades. No
Mm-hmm.
one fades records anymore. Like it just,
Mm-hmm.
it just cuts off. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
no one takes the time to do those meticulous, nuanced type of things that made music feel that had weight, that gave the
Yeah.
songs weight. So that's what we're talking about. I'm curious, why do you think that bridges no longer are applied in music? I know it's
Wow.
a
Okay.
broad question. It's a broad
Yeah.
question, but just extrapolate however you want. I just want to hear your view on that.
Well, I think if when you're talking a bridge, you're talking about a very traditional way of writing songs, right? So you had your verse, you had your chorus, you had, a second verse, a second chorus, chorus a lot of times, which is doubled. And then you went to the bridge, and then you went to the outro of the song. There could be a modulation, there could be things to kind of make the song build at the end, or all of those types of things. But that's kind of the traditional songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing that changes is that things are very much loop based. So, and I think it's the reason, attention spans are so short because you basically have heard the whole song within the first four bars of the song. Think about the way, if it's a song that's a loop and all you do is put the loop on, you basically heard the whole song. I know my kids are notorious for listening to the first minute of a song and then going to the next song because there's nothing that's going
Wow.
to happen that they haven't already heard. When
Right.
you talk about the Gamble and Huffs and you talk about the baby faces and these people, there were actual song structures where you had to stick around for the bridge or you had to stick around for the double chorus with the
Right.
ad lib that you loved
Right.
or the instrument solo or
Right.
whatever those things were, or you
Right.
had to, you know talking bridges, bended knee, you had to go to that modulation and that
Yeah.
big moment. But
Yeah.
think about it, when that was one of the things when we did the next best day with you guys from
Mm-hmm.
Jam and Lewis Volume One. That
Mm-hmm.
was the thing that caught you about the song, was we did two modulations, a big ass bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was the things that you said, I'm not hearing these in songs anymore.
Right.
So, But people don't have an attention span. I think that song's about 5 minutes long. People don't have 5 minutes to listen to a song anymore. They want to
That's
hear
true.
a minute.
But
You know.
guess what? I go back, right, Jimmy, to the Motown days, right? Just that
Mhm.
era
Yeah.
and the 50s and 60s, right?
Hmm.
And what I understood is that a lot of those songs were short. They were like two
Oh,
minutes,
they were. They
30
were 2 minutes.
seconds.
Oh, yeah, because you had to get your song on the radio, and they wanted
Yeah,
it under 3 minutes. Absolutely
right.
right.
But the
Yep.
thing was that you had the verse, chorus, bridge, maybe some added verse, chorus
Yep.
out.
Yep.
It didn't even have to be
Yeah.
super duper long. And
Yep.
I just not I didn't understand why. Well, I understand why, because kids don't do research. Because you can put all of that in 2 minutes and 30 seconds,
Mhm.
and it still be a complete song. I think one of
Well, if
the
you have
main,
in a tempo song, absolutely you can.
yeah. I mean,
In a
like
tempo song,
an
yeah.
example of that is "Baby, Baby,
Right.
Where Did Our Love Go?" Like,
Yep.
it's a very short
Yep.
song, but
Yep.
it gets to and can't hurry love.
Yeah.
Oh, it just had to wait. Like, it's one of
Right.
those songs where it goes bridge. How many heartaches must I
Hmm.
stay in?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it goes boom, 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 and the song's
Right.
over.
Yes, that's right.
So you don't think that those things can apply to today's music?
Well, here's the thing, though. You know those songs, so in your writing, you have that to reference.
Right,
If you've never heard those songs before,
right.
if as a new songwriter, the songs you're referencing are songs that are a loop with no bridge or no anything, then that's what you're inspired by, and that's your roadmap, so to speak. It's just
Yeah.
this nice straight line. You don't know about the curves and the all the other things, you know.
Which was my original point. I think a lot of these kids don't do the research. They don't, because I guess it's too old for them, or
Well,
I don't know what it is.
although I think that the funny thing is that though music is so readily available, like we used to have to dig. Like if we wanted to go back, think about this. We wanted to go back and try to listen to one of those songs. Like if you said "Can't Hurry Love" by the Supremes, right?
Mhm.
We'd have to go dig through records trying to find it. We'd have to go through maybe files on our computer, whatever, whatever. Now we can just say, "Hey Siri, play," and bam, there it is.
Right.
So there's no reason. I mean, the information is all there to hear everything you want to hear to be inspired by whatever you want to be inspired by.
You're absolutely right.
So yeah, I just think though whatever's maybe and maybe that will change a little bit because the gatekeepers the gatekeepers by gatekeepers I mean the like a label or a person that would say you can't do that. We were making a song. We were working with Kaylani the other day,
Mhm.
and we were working on a song, and it was one of the things she desired a bridge and a she wanted the song to go somewhere. And she
Mhm.
said a lot of times people are like, Chris Hines, one of the guys she works with producing, he
Mhm.
was like, they tell me like to take that's too much stuff, like take that out. Like and so I think some of it's
Who's
the A&R
telling these
direction,
kids that? Who's
but
telling them this?
it's the A&R, the A&R people. I think sometimes it's just really interesting. But then I work, but then I'll talk to someone like, Jack Antonoff,
Mm.
and he'll be like, no, we gotta, stuff's gotta be, you gotta have those elements in there. And if you think about the songs that he does, whether it's Sabrina Carpenter or whether it's Taylor
Mhm.
Swift or whatever,
Mhm.
those songs on the pop side, nobody's telling us to take stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Like on the pop side, it's like, no, we want some real songs,
So
with
so
structure.
okay, that's interesting because
Think about it. Listen to pop radio.
I do.
Okay, so pop radio
Mhm.
is very much traditional
Traditional.
songwriting, whether it's Billie Eilish, whether it's Sabrina Carpenter, whether it's what's her name? Shoot, I just saw her the other day. I'm sorry, the girl that sings, another girl that sings, that's really good. But
Yeah,
those
yeah.
songs are actual songs with bridges and hooks and modulations. I just saw Lady Gaga the other day. Lady Gaga, I saw her concert, which was amazing. But then I
Mhm.
saw her just in a room, just sitting at a piano, just playing, just songs, and they all had bridges, and they all had like emotion, and they all had all of these things. And a lot of times, you know, not to make it a black or white thing, but a lot of times in R&B right now, some of those things aren't there. And I don't know whether
But
people are being told not to do that.
but Jimmy, let's keep it a buck
Yeah,
because you just said that Kalani's people said, "Yo, that's too much,"
yeah.
but they're not telling Sabrina or Taylor or any of those guys that. Is it a black and white thing? Because my thing is that I just like you said, I listen to pop music too,
Yeah.
and it's a huge difference
Uh-huh.
as far as like what energy I get from R&B music and what I get from the pop stations.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole different refreshing. And I hate to say that,
Yeah.
but a lot of these songs that's on pop radio are better structured than the 4-bar loops that I hear on R&B stations. And I think it has a lot to do with the gatekeepers of black music saying that, yo, that's too much. And I'm trying to figure out who those people are because they need to be ousted. Because you're seriously, because you're stifling the creativity of where all sources of music come from.
Well, what's interesting to me, and I think about this all the time. Now, recently, we had the Janet Jackson TikTok thing with "Someone to Call My Lover,"
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I remember when we did that song, we were told it's too happy,
Mm.
and I said, "What does that mean? It's too happy?" And I remember, as a matter of fact, I'm trying to think. There was a couple other songs. I think "Runaway" might have been another song back in the day that when we did "Runaway." They were like, "Oh, it's too happy." It's like, what does "too happy" mean? You know. So I think sometimes, yeah, there is kind of a misconception. And the music that I want to make is music. I like making music that makes people feel good and makes people feel emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, and I'm not against, by the way, I'm not against the loops.
Right.
Rhythm
It's
Nation is a loop. And we
right.
just talked about that on the Sly documentary. So I'm not against that.
Right.
Um, but I just don't think, yeah, we should be hindered by, and not to go off subject here, but I was thinking about back when we had Perspective Records back in the 90s. So we're going way
Mm-hmm.
back, way back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember we tried to sign Black Eyed Peas, and we were told, "Oh, they're corny.
Mm.
It's corny. It's they're wearing backpacks and they're whatever, whatever," because it was all about gangster, right?
Right.
At that point,
Right.
and it's like, okay, so then we signed this group called the Black Spooks, and then they said,
Mm.
"Oh, you guys can't sign that. Why? Because y'all are Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis." It's like you can't sign, a gangster group. It's like, well, then how the heck are we supposed to do this? We can't, one's too corny, one's too whatever. But there was a lot of that. We tried to sign Jill Scott, and they said, "Oh, she's just like Erica Badu," and we were like, "No, she's not. It's
Right.
a whole different thing." But it's just funny trying to convince people of sort of the vision that we have. And I think the
Yeah.
closer you are to the artist, you got to let the artists control what they do. They know how to be their best selves. Doesn't hurt
Yes.
to have an A&R person kind of guide them, kind of look at different things. But the girl I love is Meta, or the
Uh,
artist Meta.
I
How
think
you're
yes.
familiar
Yes, I
with her?
do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
She's yeah, she's amazing, right? So it was funny because the record she was making, to me, just my opinion, were very kind of in the same lane as a SZA or a not even a SZA, more of a Summer Walker, like that kind of thing. And it was like, no, but her thing should be different because her influences, from talking to
Mm-hmm.
her, I know her influences were everything from Dan Fogelberg to John Mayer to right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why aren't you making records that sound like that? But it's because it's almost becomes a cookie cutter thing on at least on the black side as we're talking about it,
Yeah.
where sound like this. So this is the hot thing, so sound like this. And I'm not saying that that's not happening on the white side or the pop side, but I'm just saying that those artists seem to figure out I'm getting out of this, and I'm gonna do my own thing, you
Yeah.
know.
It's
So
Jimmy. It's the stifling part of it.
yeah,
Like,
stifling. Yeah, I
yeah.
get that.
Okay. Cool. Let do what's hot. Do one or two of those songs, but don't lose yourself. Like
Yes.
the
Yeah.
the worst thing you can tell an artist to do is to not do them.
Right. Well, think about it though. There's a lot of that. I've come across a lot of times where somebody will sign an act based on what they've seen or based on what they heard, and then they go about trying to change that. And it's like, wait, you've lost the reason that you signed them.
Signed them. Right,
Yeah.
right,
I
right,
mean,
right,
there
right.
was a group, very obscure, but there was a group. I won't even say who the group is, but there was a group that L.A. Reid signed probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago when he was still at Epic, and he loved it because live they were so good. And then they went in the studio and they made a bunch of records, but the records they made was with a producer who didn't allow them to play live. He basically just, they do tracks and they do these different things. When we met them, he said, I can't figure this group out. And so when we met with him, we said, well, wait a minute, your live stuff is so good. Why aren't you just set up like a band and play live? And then, right. And so we made a whole album with him. It never came out, but we made a whole album with him that was live, with live drums, with the whole thing. We just set up at our studio. We set up in a circle. We just played. And L.A. Reid, I remember we sent him a couple of like demos like from the first day.
Hmm.
And he just said, okay, we're scrapping the project. I said, what do you mean? He said, no, we're scrapping the old project. We're going to start with you guys and just do the new project.
Right.
Ended up never seeing the light of day. But the point to me was that the thing you signed up for was because you loved their live.
I lost you, Jimmy. Hold on. Hold on.
Am I there? Am I back?
Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go, Jay. I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I got you now.
No
Yeah,
worries.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
but the whole point is just simply signing things. There was a girl we loved. She used to play on Santa Monica Pier all the time,
Hmm.
and just a guitar. She'd just sit with a guitar and just play. And then I remember she ended up making a record, and it was this whole kind of overblown production thing. And we were like, wait, what happened to the girl on the pier? Like, that's what you signed. Like, make
Right.
that record.
Right.
I'll give you one artist I feel like about, and then I'll let you go because you got other things to do. But Tori Kelly.
Right.
So Tori Kelly, when I remember watching her YouTubes probably 9 years ago now. Probably it's been a while back. She used to
Hmm.
do these YouTubes. It would just be her and a piano. I mean, not
Hmm.
her and a piano, her and a guitar,
The
right?
guitar. Yeah. Uh huh.
Just amazing, beautiful stuff, right? And then she went in and made. I remember her first album sounded like every other record that was being made. And it's like, no, no, no. You took the magic away from what she is. She
Yeah.
is just the girl with the guitar. She doesn't
Right.
need all the other
Right.
production
Right.
and crazy stuff.
Right.
So I think
Right.
a lot of it is just tailoring the records you make to the people that you sign, and that doesn't always happen.
I'm gonna tell you a story because it almost happened to us, Jimmy, when we sang for Gerald Busby.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I'm going to sign you. He said this because we remember it's like it's yesterday. We sang in the Four Seasons in Philadelphia
Yep.
because he came to see us, just us. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to sign you, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with you guys. He's like, so we're just gonna put you in the studio and we're gonna figure it out. We got with Dallas, the whole nine, and the one song we did that stuck out was "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday," an a cappella record. This is
Yep.
how we met Biv. This is how we met Gerald, and he was very reluctant on releasing that song. He was like, "There's no a cappella songs on the radio. I don't think it's gonna go. I don't know." And we had the type of relationship with Gerald that it's very rare that artists and presidents have these type of relationships. We were like, just trust us, Gerald. Just drop it. Just release it. And the rest was history. But they were trying to figure it out, but they were ignoring the very thing that made us who we were at
Yes.
first.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We
Yes.
we sang a cappella. We were an a cappella group. We were harmonies.
Yep.
And thank God Gerald followed through and thank God for everybody. It made a great thing happen. But yeah, but you're right, man. I know you gotta go, and I appreciate you even coming on. But we were just talking about bridges, man, and how
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just needs to be implemented more. I'm not saying ain't nothing wrong with 4-bar loops. James Brown was 4-bar loops, and
Yep.
all types of artists that did that, Sade's of the world, and all of that. But there has to be a balance, and I think the balance in the force is off right now, Jimmy. And it just needs to just come back to those things being accepted and received just as much as the other stuff for black music, because
Yeah.
we've established that ain't nothing wrong with the pop stuff. They're doing everything traditionally and then maybe even dabbing into the 4 bar thing, but they're keeping it traditional. We should be
Oh,
able
they're
to do the same thing.
oh yeah, no, they're definitely no. The thing about the pop music is that there's R&B in all the pop music. You know,
Right.
I remember meeting when we went to the Songwriters Hall of Fame that same year. I met with Max Martin, who
Hmm.
did Backstreet
Yeah,
Boys,
yeah,
did
yeah. In
thing, all
sync
that
and
stuff,
yeah,
right?
hmm.
And he used to say, yeah, when we go in the studio, particularly like Backstreet Boys, they'd be like, they put the Control album on, or they put, Rhythm Nation on, and they'd be like, how do we get that sound? Like, how do we do that?
Right.
So he was very open about, particularly the Swedish stuff. He said that was all influenced by the stuff, the R&B stuff that you guys were doing. So we know that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. I'm all good with it. But yeah, we need to not, you know, structure ourselves like that. One thing you reminded me of when you talked about Boys to Men. Remember, we had a group a while back called Solo,
Of course.
and right, so Solo we saw them singing in the subway in New
Hmm.
York,
Hmm.
upright bass player, and then
Yep.
guys just singing.
Hmm.
And we asked them, "How come you guys don't have a record deal?" And they said, well, everybody that wants to sign us always says you need to lose the bass player, like the upright bass, and then you guys need to do like they were trying to switch their style, and we like dug into their style. Like if you
Right.
listen to their album, the very first song is
And they were
basically
great.
right back to the
That's right.
subway,
That's right.
right?
That's
And so
right.
we tried to keep the essence of what they were, and I think that's the thing is hopefully things get signed to do that. On the bridges thing, listen, not every song needs a bridge. We actually did.
No.
It's funny. We actually did a song the other day that we've said, do we need a bridge in this song? And we said, no, we don't
Right.
actually,
Right.
but
Right.
I do think it's an element of what I would call traditional songwriting that sometimes, if you think of a song as a journey, it's part of the journey.
Yes.
And I think I think we need to be aware that I think people love bridges, which is, I think is why this subject even came up
Hmm.
when they hear them. So let's give them more. I'm
Yes.
all for bridges.
That's all I'm saying, Jimmy. Like
Yep.
I just don't want people's minds to be closed to
Yes.
that artistic side of music. It's not just about 4 bars. And just like you said, some songs don't require bridges.
Yes.
But to be open to and receptive to the creativity of a bridge and not stifling artists. If an artist feels a bridge, let that person write it. It may be the difference between that song being good and being great.
Right.
But the
Uh,
telling artists, no, don't do that is the worst thing you can do to an artist. That's our whole MO, to be artistic, to be free, to do
yeah.
whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
Because that's what those are the sweet spots. That's where the greatest music is created. So
Yeah.
and just
I
like
agree.
yeah, and just like you mentioned with Kalani, like when people are telling them don't do that, that's too much, is sacrilegious to me.
Yeah.
So
It's an interesting piece of advice, and I just and by the way, listen, it's all just opinions, and I'm perfectly fine with opinions. If somebody
mhm,
has an opinion that hey, we don't need to do that, and, sometimes I'll take it back, and I always like to say on second thought because I always have a first opinion, but on second thought, it's not a bad thing,
right,
to
right,
kind of think about it a little bit and go, yeah, you know what, they could be right, or do we really need to do it? But if you dig into it and you go, no, we really do need a bridge in this song,
right.
whether they're telling us we don't or not. Let's figure out if there's a way to make it efficient so we're not making the song too long. Maybe we get rid of the double chorus, or maybe we make the intro half as long, or maybe, what I'm saying, it's how we divide our time. Because I think we're also, as producers, it's just problem solving. We're just
Yeah,
trying to get to where we, want to get to. And if they say, well, the putting a bridge in it makes the song too long, well then
yeah.
okay, let's put the bridge in, but then make the song the same length. So now what's your
Or
excuse?
use the reference of the Supremes
Yep.
and just shorten the record. Like instead
Yes.
of doing the
Yes.
double chorus, just do one, go right
Right.
to the
Yeah.
bridge and the
Yeah.
record, fade it. Don't cut it off like
Yep.
everybody else. And just give it some depth. That's all I think what's missing and what a lot of the people that are listening to us is saying, and they're all unanimous with, is that the songs are missing depth.
Yeah. Well,
That's
a lot of
all.
that. Yeah, and a lot of that's intentional. I spent a month in the studio with various people, but Inflow that does Salt. I
Yeah, I
spent the
love
month in the
Salt.
studio with. Oh, forget about it.
I love Salt.
So, yeah, by the way, and if anybody, not this is an advertisement, but if anybody ever wants some music that they need some soul cleansing,
Yeah,
any of
I
the soul
agree.
stuff, any of the
I
Creole
agree.
soul stuff,
Listen to Salt.
listen to Soul. That
They're
that stuff is
amazing.
amazing. And they're UK. If you want homegrown stuff, Krungbin is right in that same.
I love Krung Bun too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Krungbin's great. So they're another one.
Hmm.
So the point is there is music being made. So we can't just kind of blanket and say all music. But I do think the point being made about the musicality, taking music out of the musicality of stuff is just
It's
or
more of the popular stuff. Because, like I mentioned
yeah,
before, I
yeah,
said there's good music out,
yes,
and I think a lot of great artists that are doing these things, but they're just not provided the proper soapbox
yes.
that they deserve. Like, because just like you said, you mentioned Salt. There's another one. What's the redhead white girl? I think she's English too. I think they're called Sunflower or
Oh
hold on.
wow.
You know who I'm talking about?
No.
Um, hold on.
By the
Love
way, I
is a
sent you I
cure.
sent you my playlist. By the way, didn't I? Did I send you my Jimmy Jams?
No.
I'll send you my Jimmy Jams of 2024. I compiled a whole list for people that
Okay.
said there's no good music anymore,
Yes,
and
I'm gonna post it.
I actually did it. I put it. The funny thing, Apple Music pisses me off though, because I put it up on Apple Music, and
Yeah.
then as soon as I changed it, it made it so nobody could see it anymore. So I don't know what's up with their algorithm, but whatever. Anyway, it is what it is. But I'll send it. I'll send it
Moonchild.
to you. You'll be.
Moonchild. The band is called Moonchild.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Moonchild.
yeah. Moonchild.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
super dope.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But
yep,
again, they don't get the airplay that these other artists get. And
yeah,
you can't help but to see that disparity. That's all I'm saying. It's like it's the balance. Like I don't mind those other records. Those are fine. We've
yeah.
had those even back in the 90s and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Oh
But
sure.
there was
Yeah,
a balance of it.
yeah, yeah.
You
No,
know,
I agree. But
so
part of it is the curation of it because radio, in many ways, was our curation. It was what we
yeah,
listened to, and it was not only hearing the song on the radio, but who was presenting it to you. If
yes,
you tuned into a certain DJ and you heard something, back in the day, even like Donnie Simpson. Donnie Simpson used to be one of
yes,
the best curators,
yes, yes,
and we were
yes.
talking about how he broke, back in the day, Elton John, Benny and the Jets. Donnie Simpson
Mm,
broke that record. Nobody was playing that on black radio. He put it on
wow.
black radio. That ended up being a number one R&B record for Elton John. You know,
Wow.
so I think we need to have curation systems in place. Your show is a
Mhm.
great one, your
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you.
But I think that we need to have more things like that where people can, like I say, I'll send you the playlist. But there should be things where people can then talk about why they enjoy the song so much.
Mhm.
Not just, oh, this is a good song. It's like listen to this, listen to the connections here, the parallels here, those types of things. Informed listening, as I like to
You
call
just spawned an idea that I'm going to work on.
it. Okay.
I'm going to do that.
Okay, good.
Two things. We got to do a part two. You got to come back on the pod.
Yes, 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 yes. I'd love to. I'd love
Please
to.
bring Terry.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
know.
Oh, that's a must. That's a must.
Please bring Uncle Terry.
People are sick of hearing me talk.
No,
Not
no,
even
no, no, no. It's just that what it is that you guys are such a dynamic duo. Just to hear you guys talking about the same story and his perspective and things of that nature. And
yeah.
Terry's a man of few words, but he's always good for a fantastic soundbite.
Terry's the
So
best. Like
we
I say it takes me a paragraph to say what he can say in a sentence.
yes, he said it in one sentence.
That's that's what makes Terry. That's what makes Terry so great, man. That
Yes,
he's amazing at that. But I mean, you saw that. You saw the Sly documentary. I mean, that's
yes,
kind of the yin and yang of us. We're
yes,
basically still telling the same story, but
yes,
kind of from our own
yes.
perspective. So
So I
yeah,
want to have that type of energy, transference on the show.
yeah.
So I'm going to call Vita after I get off this live, and I'm going
Okay,
to figure
perfect.
out what y'all schedule is like.
There you go.
And also, you also mentioned about me getting with the guys of Salt. Remember we
Yes,
had that talk?
we did have that. We did have that talk.
So
Yeah.
please, I would love to make that connection because I'm a big fan of theirs and I would love to do something with them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, they'd love to do something with you too. So and so no, that's definitely in the atmosphere.
Bet.
Yes,
Jimmy,
sir.
thank you. Love you, bro.
Thank you. Love you too, brother. You
All
know it.
right, and I'll talk to you later. I'm gonna hit you later.
Okay, perfect. All
Okay.
right.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
man.
I begin to